Remind us that the Church of Uganda has organized a provincial prayer conversion that you shouldn't miss. All your answers are there. Just purpose to be part of this prayer conversion. Come next week, starting from Tuesday to Thursday. I believe your life will not be the same again after the conversion. It will be at the Namugongo Anglican Matters site. Yeah, of course, you should be knowing that place. Just in case you do not know that place, the place that people have popularly called Nachiyanja, but it is the Anglican Matters site. That is where the prayer conversion is going to be. Purpose to be part of this prayer conversion, and your life will not be the same. I welcome you to Family Hour. This is our Wednesday edition. Edrine Osteen Mukalazi is my name. And now when we talk about things being hard, when we talk about finances becoming scarce, when we talk about a lot of challenges, especially financial challenges, you realize people are no longer operating on their budgets because sometimes you fail to know whether you'll have this income or what. In some situations, people say they even reach a point of encroaching onto the savings. So we should say that there are times when things are really hard. The answer is here. Today we are discussing how you can grow your savings, especially when the going becomes tougher, because you have to keep the routine of saving. But how can you grow the saving in amidst the tough moments? With us is none other than Rev Jasper. Reverend, you're welcome to this show.
Thank you so much. And greetings, friends. That conversion, I will be there, but I also preach about families. How do you pray for families? Please be there, and we shall enjoy the goodness of the Lord.
Amen.
In the land of the living.
Amen.
It is exciting to be with you on our Church of Uganda family television, and it is really, I'm normally delighted to teach about what I like, what I have lived, like me today, savings and saving in hard time. I have lived through thick and thin, but I can assure you during those hard times, you go back and tap from what you saved, either in your brain, that's the mind, or in your hands, that's the skills, or even in your heart. The heart is mainly spirituality. And I can assure you, God provides all of this framework for us to save for the future. And of course, I will come to it. It is different from hoarding. Hoarding is different from saving, because many people hoard and they think they are saving. Yet saving means you are kind of investing for the future. Hoarding means you have a lot, you put in a fridge and feel that let me eat. And then God says, you already full. So we are now dealing with saving, but for difficult times. And really wisdom means you save for difficult times. I was preaching last Saturday to my child is at a certain school. He's doing senior 6 now. But I reminded them Matthew 7:24 to 28. The fool and the wise person. The difference is on saving. They all appear to have the same resource, but somebody says, no, I will build on a rock. Meaning, when rain comes, when winds come, I will withstand. But a fool will just say, anywhere, then you put a house. When the wind comes, and wind represents adversity towards either what you are doing, or potentially things like COVID. When it comes, the Bible says the fool's house came crumbling down. And many people today are like that bird, which looks at a banana plantation and says, this is a good nest for my what? For my children. And then it goes into the banana, puts a nest. I mean, when you see it, it is a nice idea, but it doesn't know that bananas don't last long. When it is time to cut it, the whole saving totally crashes. But that other bird which goes higher in the tree and begins building slowly against the winds, against the rain, against the snakes, it normally produces children which deliberately withstand now all those storms.
Okay.
Yeah.
We started it from there. There is something you talked about which is very important that we need to draw into details. You say that saving is in the mind, in the brain.
In the brain, that's the head.
The hands.
That's knowledge. The head,
Yes.
knowledge. The hands, those are skills. Then
And
the heart is your passion. Like the passion to save, passion to invest, passion to do what you like. And those 3 H's are, everybody has a head, everybody has hands, everybody has a heart. And it is up to you to use all of those to prepare, to live well, but also prepare for the worst periods. And so again, the difference between the wise and the foolish is the wise will prepare for the worst, then the foolish will prepare for the immediate. As long as I'm okay, people who are stealing land, and you are there, you don't have certificate of occupancy, you are a chibanja holder, you don't care, you just come and sleep.
As long as I
In
sleep.
Tao Mukono what? Let me tell you, it doesn't matter. 20 years later, that house will be demolished. 20 years later, what you thought is your total investment will go up. And many Ugandans, unfortunately, including Christians, including reverends, have that narrow mind.
Yeah.
That I can't save for 20 years. That's why we cut trees instead of planting. That's why you find that we of course, charcoal is higher in Uganda, then gas is high, electricity is high, and so we must cook using the most available firewood. But look at this nation. So 20 years later, our children will not have the same oxygen that we have. And so that's really the difference between the wise and the foolish. And we shall see, of course, later, people like Joseph being wise. A 20% saving for 7 years saved nations for another 7 years. And Pharaoh owned everything.
Yeah.
Why? Because one wise boy in prison who had the head, the hands, and the heart determined what Pharaoh and Egypt would become.
Wow. So we look at, because this is very, very important, especially saving. We have a generation that is so lazy when it comes to saving. I was in a community where they had named some people itizote, that when someone gets their money, they can never settle until they have spent
all of it. There is a market in Mbarara. It is called Koranorja. You work as you eat. There is nothing that you are able to save. And I don't know whether we have somebody from Koranorja who can boast of really saving. Because even the name means, please work as you eat. So the history of saving, because you see, in terms of economics, there is what they call scarcity. And because of scarcity that you cannot have every day, there is what they call a choice. I can choose to travel in a taxi even when I have a vehicle because of scarcity of fuel. And the intention is not because taxis are good, but because they are cheaper. Instead of traveling 1 day, I can travel 5 days. On the same amount, even less amount. And therefore, because of scarcity, you make choices. And those choices, therefore, will determine whether you will be okay or not. Now, there are 3 basic concepts on saving which I want us to understand. One is what they call wants. Material and non-material things you aspire to have. Just those are wants. I want this, I want this, I want this. But if you don't have them, you won't die. For example, even currently, we have a TV at home, but we put sometimes a small amount of money to watch mainly Church of Uganda Family TV. Basic. But there are certain times where, because of the need for children to watch, then we put something higher. But currently, as I talk, actually we are not watching TV at home. And nobody is very, very bothered. It is not something that is a basic need. Because TV watching is what we would call a want. When you don't watch it, you won't die. Except, of course, the Church of Uganda Family TV, where we are giving both the life skills and spirituality. But that's a want that you see. It is something, if you do not do it, if you do not purchase it, you are not going to die. But there is what they call needs. Needs. And basic needs are food, shelter, clothing. You can talk about water. These are things that allow us to survive. And basically, you'll find people spending more on wants than on needs. Then the last one is desires. A higher level of wants. I desire to be going to New York. Okay, that's a desire, but surely if you don't go, you won't die. I have been desiring to go to Israel. One time they sponsored me, but inside me I never felt like going. I left the sponsorship. Why? Because it is a desire, it is not something, even if you don't get it in your lifetime.
Life moves on.
Life moves on. So those three concepts: wants, non-material and material things that you aspire to have, needs, basic things you must have to survive, desires, higher level of wants, where, again, even if you don't get them, some people have desired to be presidents and they die without being what? But they still die. But inside them were like, I feel I'm a leader. That's okay. It is good to desire nice things. But even if you don't have them, and you don't have to save for desires, you don't have to save for wants, but please save for basic needs. Because when the rain comes and the wind strikes you, if you don't have basic needs, you collapse and go. So health is basic, education is basic, food and shelter are basic. So if you have those three concepts, therefore, you begin knowing where to concentrate, to save. But otherwise, this business of, and there is what they call a 50, a 30, 20%. That 50, you spend it on basic needs. If you have an income of 100,000, 50,000 basic needs, 30,000 wants, 20, please save it. And after 7-10 years, you'll now call and say, hey, Reverend, I want to give you tithe. Because that formula really works. Why 50, you are not 30, lacking 20. 50, 30, 20. That 50% of our salary, of what we have gotten, we put it on basic ones so that you are not struggling. Because again, why I'm saying this, there are so many viewers who will not eat because they are saving. That's stupidity, because you might die before you enjoy what you are saving for. Yeah, you must fulfill the basic needs, then go for wants. Those are materials, yes, which you really need, but even if you never had them,
life moves on.
Life moves on. Then 20%, so 50, 30, 20. 20%, please put it aside.
Okay.
Either in circles, or if you have a bank, let that bank be a bank where you are using the savings account, because I will come to it later. Sometimes we put our money in a bank, but it is the current account. So every month, somebody, instead of adding you, they are deducting. So you need that savings account where you have interest that is added on your savings, but also your savings are safe. And even if there is devaluation or high foreign exchange challenges, your money still remains almost of equal value with the time you are saving it. So those are like the concepts which we must know, that at least 20% of what you are earning should be put in savings. 20%. And I'm not talking about tithe. Tithe is 10%. Please give it. Because tithe is part of the basic needs for a Christian. Of course, I'm telling people who never tithe. No, tithe is part of the basics of a serious Christian. Sure. Like food and water, shelter. Yeah, take that tithe. Offertory, same thing. It should be part of the lifestyle. In fact, when you see America and other developed countries, why they are very serious, they normally give a percentage, either for charity or for alms. To find that you see Microsoft will get 10% of his income to go and meet the needs of others. That's basically what a normal person who is saving does.
Well, we'll look at, you're talking about saving. I want you to help us understand saving and building an emergency fund. Is saving supposed to respond to the emergency funds, or the two are different?
They are different, but one serves the another. Let me say this. Nobody knew COVID.
Yes.
Okay? So you can't say I'm saving for emergency. Because emergency are things that emerge without your control. Like, I was going to office very early in the morning. It began raining around Rubiji. Emergency meant I have to spend in a traffic jam about 2 hours. I have lost that time. Yet I had meetings. That's an emergency. And you can't plan very well for an emergency. But savings you can plan. Now, how do they connect? When I save so well, when an emergency comes, I will be able to meet it. COVID comes, I'm working at a university, which I won't mention now, because the illustration is not as wonderful. That university said from May, no more salaries. And I'm at home. So, but of course there were little savings, which we spent, and we were about 15 people at one home. And it is in Kampala, where there is no banana plantation behind the house, and you can go and cut.
Where you have to pay.
Yeah, but listen to the head, the heart, and the hands. I had taken a course of training on a computer, online training. And I began training online. And I began getting some dollars. Why? And you see, when I was investing in education, I never knew the emergency. When Zoom came, you remember Zoom? I now began preaching on Zoom. Why? Because we had invested a bit. We had saved a bit for purchase of, equipment to help us do Zoom, but also I had already purchased equipment to help me train online. So for emergencies, it is very, very difficult to know even when. But the question is, when they strike, have you saved enough to sail through the emergencies? If you haven't saved, then you'll wait for postal from government and beans. And for some of us, I have never received. I'm still waiting. These are about 3 years, but I'm still waiting. And again, whether it is government or another agency, you can't sustain basic needs. In fact, sometimes I laugh when I say 6 kilograms of posho. Yes, that's a relief. But instead of giving me that posho and beans, teach me how to plant beans. So that after 3 months, I'm not a beggar. And you see, and that makes a difference between those who save to survive emergencies and those who just wait for what they call small masses. Now, small masses are handouts. that, you know, I'm seated at home and waiting. You know, and it is normal on TV news. Government etuyambe.
Government
in fact, another one. You can imagine, you are keeping quiet, we shall not vote properly. Now, voting is in 2016. 3 years before, you are threatening that you will vote. And when whoever you vote, nobody will pour food and bring it to your mouth. No. Again, God has endowed each one of us with faculties to work. Go and work, begin saving today. And by the way, there are platforms where you can save money every day. I can't talk about because they don't advertise with us. So please advertise with Church of Uganda TV. I will begin at talking about your packages. But there is where you can order what we call auto saving. I have it on my phone. My auto saving is 10,000 a day. And you leave it on. You get it. Whatever enters, 10, 10, 10. They give a small interest. But after like 2 months, when you go there, you'll have actually a good amount of money that can be able to do something. So have that in, you know, system of saving. Our mothers used to have small wardrobes where they would be pushing money. Of course, some children would steal it. With all due respect. But they are what they call also piggy banks for children, where you drop a coin, and when you make it a habit to keep dropping, and you see, that's something I even want to, again, begin now. My family would have a place to do what? To just drop coins and change. And after some time when you open it, I can assure you, sometimes it would be too much money. For those of us who have big notes, who would push in big notes, the intention is to teach these children that you need to save, not only for emergencies, but for the future. That, you know, in the future it can't be as autopilot, that we are moving very well, so that when then those emergencies which you talked about come, you are not shaken. There are people who were not shaken during COVID. The only fear was, I may what? Contract it. Only. But food and drink, no. They were not bothered. Others used now opportunities for money. They saved the money. When COVID came, sanitizers, one of them is my friend. He became so rich. Why? Because his savings, he began making sanitizers, and he sold and sold and sold, and now he makes soap. That's something I have been telling you. Yes. We have already entered like a JV, joint venture, so that the church also becomes part of that industrial hub. But many people who save during period of, you know, having a lot of income, when you save it, when even if it is an emergency, when it comes, you'll survive. I will go to the Bible. Joseph. Yes. You know, the king is just sleeping and he gets 2 dreams about cows, small and big. Then about a grain of wheat, a plant of wheat, big, small, 7. Then he calls the young man in the prison. He says, 7 years of abundance, then 7 years of scarcity. But listen to what Joseph does. And this is now a solution to many planners in the government, or even outside. That you see, you can't simply talk about a problem without a solution. This young man says, so King Pharaoh, God has made it known to you, and he has confirmed it because it is 2 dreams. So, let there be a decree that you save 20% of grain in the 7 years of abundance. I think it was like, this is a joke. How can abundance of 7 years sort out scarcity of 7 years? But this young man does it, and after 7 years, Pharaoh not only owned all riches, he also owned all land in Egypt. All. So when you begin saving 20% of your income. You'll be a king after 7 years in case of Pharaoh, but for you continue. We save 10% in NSSF. But I can assure you today, if I told you how much I have, you would waylay me next year when I'm 55. Because next year I'm 55, and I think NSSF, you are listening, listen to me. I will take that money out at 55, but it has been saved over a long period of time. And I talked about auto savings.
Yes.
You won't feel NSSF. You won't feel it. I mean, they are deducting 5% from the employee, 10% from the employer. For it is 5%. But then I have been saving since 1998. So you can now imagine. I mean, I will take you out. If it is a Wednesday, that June, if it is a Wednesday, just be ready for being. But it is auto saving. It is like automatic. There is no big impact on me. But after a long period of time, of course, I have a quarrel with the amount of interest they give. Of course, like last time, even if it is 10%, but it is 10% of up to June 2022, not December 2022. So when they declare interest, you have actually 1 year. 1 year. And then SSF, please listen to me. Those of us who know how to calculate, you can't give me 10% of the amount of June 2022. You haven't counted what is inside. And so you have a window of about 1 year and 3 months from July 2022 to when you declare interest. That's in September 2023. My money is there and you haven't declared any interest on it. I mean, it does not make sense. It is a saving, yes, but there is a problem. And I pray that somebody will begin seeing that, so that you begin declaring at least up to December.
Yes.
But you can't say, I'm declaring up to 2022. So all the savings from 2022 June to July up to 2023 June. Just there. And so I am coming June 2024. Reason is, you don't advertise with Church of Uganda Family TV, but also because I do not see that I'm getting a good return on my savings. And of course, there are options. And of course, I mean, with all due respect, NSSF is good. I mean, 10%, 12%, that's good. But there are other trusts, there are other circles where you can get slightly more money. So when you are saving, beware of those dynamics. That I need to save, where I will get a higher return, because savings are not easily withdrawn. Yeah. Even in circles, we have what they call shares. Yeah. For those that are like permanent. Yeah. But you'll find most circles are giving 8%, 9%, others 6%. There's where I got 2.5% the whole year. And so you begin wondering, is this a saving or I'm making somebody else rich? Sure. And those are the choices which you need to make as you begin looking for where do I save my money. Yeah.
Well, we are taking a short commercial break. When we return, you're going now to give us some of the tips of how to save and the various ventures in which we can save. Stick with us.
Ramesses, you grew up together, close as brothers.
Remember the prophecy.
Samson, chosen by the living God.
You dare to defy me? Let the furnace be heated sevenfold. Bind them and cast them into the fire.
It begins.
Take the ark!
This is Church of Uganda Family TV, enriching lives.
Hard times don't come to weaken us, but to make us even more stronger. The only way you can survive hard times is when you are ready for the hard times. One of the ways in which you can prepare yourself for those hard moments or hard times is when you save in the head, in the hands, and in the heart. It is what we are discussing about today. This is Family Hour. Edrine, Osteen, Mukalazi is my name. We are looking at how you can grow your savings amidst hard times. Yes, it's true, they will come soon or later. Every day will not be a golden day. There will be the other dark day. But how do you go about the dark moments, the dark series of life, and you come out unmatched, like what happened to us during lockdown? We are with Rev Jasper, who is the Group CEO of Church Commissioners Holdings, taking us through a series of how you can save and what you can do, because there is what we call indirect saving. Sometimes
Yes,
it is indirect, but you're saving and
Yes,
you don't know you're saving. I think we need to understand some of these
Yes,
aspects so that someone out there can be helped.
Yeah, so like NSSF is direct saving, where automatically
Yes.
an employer will cut your 5%, add you 10% and send to NSSF. It is not direct, no, it is like a tax. But then you can also have what they call standing orders in banks, where you say each credit, please send this amount to this channel, either circle or a trust, so that now as money enters, it goes to that trust. Then I also talked about this indirect auto saving on our phones, on our computers, where automatically if somebody sends you some money, there is some little money that goes into that indirect the facility. And I encourage people not to check there every day, because you see, when you overcheck your savings, it means you'll be tempted to withdraw and get even a loan to add on your savings. Generally, it is better to say, if I have this indirect auto saving, I will be checking there after 2 weeks. And then after 2 weeks, like me, on one facility, I save 10,000 a day on one of my phones. So after 2 weeks, it could be 120, 130, 140 maximum. That's better than, checking every day. And if you have no bundle, you begin saying, oh, there is this Zoom. And I actually come to it later, that you see, be careful how you spend. Because if it is a vacation, if it is bundles, what are you using bundles for? And so those are the indirect savings. Others, like circles, really it is, okay, I know it is taking money directly, but in a way, like me, I'm in about 11 circles. Yes. And I can assure you, because there are 11, I will choose where to send 50, 100, what. And you see, the Bible is clear that spread your seed over many waters. And so one time I had children going to school, we were struggling. Then I had I had forgotten that I had been saving on education fund. So when I went to say, give me a loan, they said, no, instead of a loan, you have been saving on education. I checked. 890,000 was the amount, and they said we can add about another 400,000. And I cleared. Why? Because when you have that big amount, they give you slightly more, and you now continue saving. And I had really saved it during nice periods, where you get money and put. Again, 890 is not a lot of money, but I can assure you, during like school fees period, during times of sickness, that money can deliberately help you. Another indirect saving is through insurance policies. Okay, of course, people, especially in our country, have gotten bad experiences with insurance, but I can assure you, health insurance, even if you don't fall sick, it helps another one. And it is an indirect saving. And those who have used that insurance, generally if you use it, of course I'm not encouraging you to fall sick, but if you use it, you now know that had I not put in that money, I would have been in trouble. And many people, especially during COVID again, you haven't been saving with any insurance, and time comes and you are in hospital, big bills. I know about 2 people, we couldn't even pay for hospital bills after death. And for me, that's unfortunate, that people die, but they can't even release the body. Why? Because we have not completed what? The payment. The reason is we fear those indirect policies, where you put 1 million and then you have a portfolio of about 5 to go to hospital. But many people, again, it is in funeral, and others even say, let me fall sick so that I may be able to benefit. No, for me, I go to insurance, and I have been there, but I can assure you, the only thing I got are glasses. And I'm comfortable. I don't have to now pray for sickness in order for me to feel that I saved in insurance. No. But then when my wife recently was sick, I saw the benefit that even if it is not me, she has a policy. It helped her. And for me, that's it. Even if my money helps another person, that's what they call spreading over the what? The many waters. So that somebody benefits out of your what? Your policy. So those are the indirect savings. But I really want to encourage people, even if you are in a village, go for those indirect savings, where every Sunday people meet and they are saving 5,000. But count 5,000, 53 Sundays, times 10 years, you will be a rich person. And so you don't have to rush even to withdraw. Those of us in Kampala, I encourage you, have that village, small, we call them village circles, village groupings. And please don't go for PDM money. No. Just continue saving slowly. And then, 1, that money helps somebody. But 2, when you are in trouble, in case of death, in the case of need for something, you'll find, by the way, this village saving group, the VSLs, has already gotten my 5 million. And for them, by the way, they are genuine. It is not, we shall steal. No. In the village, they don't steal. They will give you your money, even help you. And that's how social networks work. And of course, I will come to it later.
Well, now we talk about how. How. Because now these are the various ventures in which someone, now how.
The first aspect of saving is that you must keep track of your spending. I mean, just be sure that if I get this money, I have one of my sisters, for her, any money she gets, a certain percentage goes for saving. And of course I admire her. Why? Because it is a tough discipline. But keep track of your spending. And part of the spending, of course, as we said, be able to separate wants from needs. That's secondly.
Yes.
You keep track of your spending. You have a budget. We talked about budget once. I hope people still remember income, expenditure, but keep track. How am I spending? What am I spending it on? If you need a vehicle, is it a want? Is it a need?
Or a desire?
Or a desire. If it is a desire, don't join traffic jams. Just you keep on using taxis. But if you have children who must go to school at a certain hour, and you are not able to afford the school buses, just spend, but keep track on how much you are spending per week, per month, so that you don't overspend. Secondly, separate wants from needs. We talked about wants.
Yes.
Things which are there, okay, they are necessary, but not sufficient to kill you. So ensure that you are separating wants from needs. You are ensuring that all needs are met, that children are going to school, that you have what to eat, you have what to drink, you can afford to transport that child to the school. But once, begin saving part of that money. Then avoid using credit to pay bills.
Very important.
There are people, they borrow here to pay there.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you go to MTN or Airtel. All those should advertise on Church of Uganda. And then get Verako to pay your car. You see, all those are spending. You get some little
Loan.
from Momo loan. What are you
More
paying
cash.
for? More cash. Then you pay for either electricity. And by the way, electricity is not necessarily a need. Okay, you need light. But most of us, it is a want. Why? You want to charge the phone. You want to do what? You go for solar. But anyway, avoid having to go for a small loan in order for you to pay certain needs and wants, which are avoidable. Unless if it is a health matter, education, yes, you can get credit. But still credit will limit your saving capacity. Number 4, save regularly. We have talked about it, that have that automatic saving regularly. So that when it's, something strikes you, you are not shocked. You can say, okay, by the way, which circle do I go to? Why? Because I have been saving regularly, so out of these savings, these are the amounts. And so you are not shocked by hard times. But there are many people. Again, when you read chapter 7, verse 25, rain came down, wind came, storms rose, the waters rose. So tragedy can come from up, rain. It can come from the sides, that's wind. It also can come down, the waters rose. And that's it. That you see, when you are saving regularly, you do not know the hard times. And Proverbs says that run from ants. They will begin preparing for hard what? Times. I normally see these termite, they call them mountains, okay, termite hills. Those small animals build, and I can assure you, they have a system against the rain, against the wind, against sunshine, against the things which can enter. And recently I saw them defending the queen. They even hide it. Why? Because they have wisdom to save for hard what? Times. So for them, the ant-hill is not a simple thing. No, it is hard. Even us who are digging it, you get it. But they are small what? Small ants. So the Bible says, learn from those. That when you do something regularly, slowly, and you have a social network, you are able to build something that can withstand rain from up, wind from across, but also waters that are rising. It is in Matthew 7, 25, 26. 25 and 27. And again, the conditions of the foolish man and the wise man will all come. You get, from up, from across, from down, it will come and hit you. But the one who has been saving regularly will now withstand. So the second last is to keep checking all policies. Hey, what is the interest rate here? If I save this, how can I withdraw it? And for example, purchase land. Me and my wife have done it. You get savings, even if you get actually a loan. You might 20% in mid-term access, NSSF last year, land 2 acres. Why? Because when you invest in land, land gains value.
Yes.
Every other day. By the way, especially in Uganda, we even have a distorted land market. You can buy today at 20 million, the next day they give you 30. There is a distorted land market. But that should now help you who is saving, to know I will get my savings, purchase land, and then I'm adding value. Those of us who like agriculture, you put agricultural products. But that's it, that when you save regularly and you check the policies, then you will know I can get from here, put here. Check mutual trusts, these unit trusts where you can put money. If it is 10%, get it out, put it where it is 12%. Check regularly. But then also be careful as you spend. Meaning, if it is a vacation, if there are gifts, there are people you attend weddings with. 2 million. Now, okay, it is okay to give 2 million and they will grab. In fact, one time I attended at Speak Hotel, a wedding meeting. Others were 2 million, 1 million. Me, I had 100K, which I had painfully come to pay. Let me tell you, I picked my 100K. It remained in the pocket. I went home. I never contributed. Of course, they never called me. But you see, I'm not going to give for a wedding all those millions unless if it is a relative and the stakes are high in terms of me getting involved in the life of that person. It is okay, your daughter, your cousin, your what. But this business of spending, and there are even ordinands who come for money. And what do they want the money for? Food, drink, beer, what? And Jasper gets the money, gives you money for beer on your wedding. And you see, people put their mind to one day rather than years of marriage. Let me repeat for those who have these weddings, you splash and you are happy one in 2 hours. Then after 2 hours, you are saying, hey, where will I use to pay? You need to spend more on your marriage than your wedding. You need to spend more on your post-graduation than your graduation. It makes sense that you see, yes, I want to spend and make people happy. But when you don't have a job, our happiness will go. When your marriage is on the rocks, I can assure it doesn't matter how you spend it. And I can especially tell men, you marry a woman, you put her in the crowds, then after 2 weeks, she's down on earth. She will divorce you. Why? Because she's getting shocked. You took me to this hotel, but now you can't pay rent. No rent even. They are chasing you out of the house. So I went to Mombasa for a holiday, but now we have no money for border to town.
And landlords can be so stubborn. They come with a padlock.
Yes.
Move out, we are locking
and
the house.
Especially when you are newly married and you never called them for your wedding. They will come with a padlock, excuse us, 3 months in advance or out. And then you find a lady with flowers crying. And those flowers are, by the way, worth 200K. Crying. If I knew I wouldn't have married you. Okay. Help also that man. You man, help that lady. That shoe of 100,000 that I call it a net. When Ruchigetiza Katimba, I mean net. Okay, that wedding gown of 2 million does not add any value on your marriage.
Which you're wearing.
I can assure you. For 2 hours, you pay 2 million, you have 2 changing dresses, each is 600,000. Okay, who is even looking at you? And you have it at home and you are feeling happy. No. The thing is, please invest and save for a longer period. That's your marriage. Your children, if you have children, save for them for their school fees. They won't be asking you, hey, you never took us to London. No. And by the way, you can go to London afterwards, if you are able to. Again, I told you I never went to Israel. And when we were marrying, we never flew. But now we have capacity to fly. And that's okay. And we can fly anywhere, but we don't fly anywhere. Because it is a desire, not a what? Not a need. So that's it, that we need to be careful on how we spend. Because how you spend it today will either make you a fool or a wise person. Full stop. As
we wind up this discussion, there's something you had brought in and you referred it. That was the social networks.
Yes.
Yes, we discussed that and then we shall close.
Yes, you see, we have what they call network marketing. That when I'm with Osteen in this studio, somebody will look at us and say, I would want to be, I want Osteen to be my news presenter. Why? Because of how you have talked, of how you question, and then it sells you. Now, a social network, especially in times of trouble, like when COVID hits, when you have many people on your social network, you are able to, 1, use your head together, that's thinking. 2, use your hands. You can even dig. Then number 3, use your heart to survive. But pity people who have money, actually a lot of money, and in times of trouble, they have nobody to call to get advice. And I want to tell you, especially those who are Christians, that you need that social network. People will stand with you, people will advise you, people whom you can call on to and say, by the way, my family has nothing to eat. And amongst them, they now mobilize to help you eat, but also give you capacity to produce yourself. And of course, we have a challenge with some social networks. You have those who are laughing. If they laugh at you now, remove them, but ensure that you have people you can call on to. That you see, this season I have no school fees. Who can give it? They give, but be able to pay back if it is a loan. Now, and this goes to Christians real. I said it once. That is very risky to give Christian your money as a loan. You'll become enemies. They meet you and just, hey, Reverend, bye-bye. Guy, go somewhere and say, I am not able to pay now, but God willing. You get it? I can even pray with you. God willing, I will pay you. But also, the capacity to say, I'm not able to pay. What can we do? They are putting you in the equation, but at least that's better. But now we have people, social networks. What kills social network? Because a network is a net that works. Yes. Okay. It is interlinked. A framework is a frame that works. So when you have a social network and some 2 or 3 take money, never return it. You save, and then when you give them first, they destroy the whole chain. It means that you cannot manage. So the importance of social networks is that when it is tough period, it is not tough for everybody. When it is in also hard times, some of them have saved over time and they can be able to what? Because you see, in humanity, you can't live what? Alone. And I thank God, by the way, as a family, we have so many social networks. And all the consultants, sometimes I do consultancy, but all the consultancies I get are through social network. Hey, he did this, then they connect you. And that's better jobs, rather than me going and fighting for people who are bribing. They ask, hey, you are a reverend, but surely you give us 10%. Me, forget. I will never give it to you. Okay, do your work, and I will go home with my God.
Thank you so much, Reverend. Wow, someone says, okay, you are Reverend, but...
Hey, but you are...
It's a pleasure having you watching Family Hour. We can't go beyond this time. Soul Moment is coming next. There is also a movie, but also remember to wake up with us on Good Morning Family. There is Word of Life at 9 a.m. and very many other programs that will be coming through. I've worked with Brinko, Ategeka, Didmas in transmission, Nancy on social media, and very many other people that put everything together to see that you have this image right there on your screen. You can follow this program, this conversation, just in case you missed out anything, on our YouTube channel. That is COU Family TV. God bless you. We meet again tomorrow.